Well, good evening, everyone. This is Reverend Tom Vargas, and I was thinking that Lynn was going to come on and introduce me, and like she usually does, but I guess she's not around. I wanted her to talk a little bit about um, what we did last week when we were talking about the the new format or platform or whatever that she wanted to form a group, and everyone helped to figure out what we were going to do to change from Pal Talk to something else. But I do know that there are some people that are having a lot of problems with Pal Talk just because of they own Macs, and it it just doesn't work very well. It works and then it doesn't work. So, anyways, I want to begin by a reading from a book called Things to Know About A Course in Miracles by Verona Gabrielle LeBerry, one of the speakers here on Awakening Together Radio. And this short topic, is called Discipline is Essential. Discipline is an important facet of your development. If you wish to live your divine purpose, you must realize discipline and simplify your life. An undisciplined mind can accomplish little, but a disciplined mind accomplishes much. Without this discipline, you will continue to wander through a labyrinth of confusion and misunderstanding. However, with the practice of prayer and meditation, your mind restores communication with everything that is real. Discipline over your thoughts and habits is essential because it is the foundation for successful living. Spiritual discipline keeps you striding efficiently and effectively toward the full expression of what you are. When you are using your mind in the right way, right ideas flow through you. Everything falls effortlessly into place and your life becomes a joyous unfolding. And once again, this is from Things to Know About A Course in Miracles by Veronica Gabrielle LeBerry. And I think you can pick it up. I don't know. I don't know where you can pick it up. I guess I have to ask her that. But I have one of her copies. So um, tonight's topic, I chose a topic called responsibility. And I was driving around in my car. I believe it was Saturday, and this old song from Grand Funk Radio came on called Responsibility or Responsibles, one of the two. And so it just kind of caught my ear, and I was relating to myself and also the Course in Miracles about what am I responsible for and how I'm responsible for. And then really what came up later on is what is responsibility itself. And I started playing around with that, and so then I thought I would go ahead and speak about responsibility, and especially what it means to a course student and myself in my life. So the first thing that that I did, I took it all the way back to what is responsibility, and uh, and what what I first thing that came into my mind is what is, outside of anything and everything, what are we first of all responsible for? Is there a common responsibility that every person has, every living thing has. Is responsibility a choice? Is responsibility a conscious choice, or can we be responsible unconsciously? Is there an inherent responsibility that comes with the body, with comes with being alive, with comes with life? So I brought up all of these questions, and so I thought I'd just kick it around with everybody here, and and see where it goes. So, like some of my other talks, I kind of like to start right at the beginning with the tiny mad idea. And so, in the beginning, we have this oneness, this perfection that I'm not exactly sure what that looks like, or even in my current state of consciousness, if I can even really understand basically what it is. But we're in this perfection, all as one, and I don't know if we're in one in this perfection and all of us have individualized consciousness in this oneness. Is there a billion, a zillion? How many individualized consciousness are there? Or is it just one consciousness that just is? So I'm not exactly sure how that works out. So we have a tiny mad creeping idea that creeps into this perfect awareness, perfect oneness, and that is where the sense of separation was born, was first known. Um, it wasn't created because only God creates, so it was made up by a creeping mad idea. But we do know that the results of the tiny creeping idea is that there's a lot of individualized souls, so to speak, or individualized entities, individualized consciousness now as a result of the sense of separation. And like I said earlier, I'm not exactly sure if at the beginning, before the mad creeping idea, that there were individualized consciousness that were in that united um, paradise or heaven or oneness that we all supposedly came from. So that kind of just brings up my very first issue or question about responsibility. So as we move into from oneness into the manifestation of all of these individualized awarenesses or souls or whatever we want to call it, and I would even include everything that's living, like my dogs, or the fish and the animals, because they all are separate in their own ways, because they're protecting each other and defending territory and all of that. So to a certain extent, they are part of this separated sense of separated consciousness. So where my question starts is that the beginning of of us being responsible in and if it is, like what particular way and what are we responsible for? And uh, did we, is this something that was a choice for us to be responsible for whatever we have to be responsible for? Same thing with the, with my dogs and or fish or the birds, or we're all responsible for, or are we responsible? Is responsibility something that is chosen? Do I have to choose to, um, if do I have to choose what I am responsible for, or can I be held accountable or responsible for something that I didn't choose? I guess it would kind of be like if uh, back in the day, or even I think that nowadays they still do this in some cultures where a woman has her husband picked out by the parents or the elders or the religious organization there at the time, and so she gets married with this guy, and but it's not really her free will, so to speak, or her choice, and maybe she thinks she loves somebody else, and so is she responsible to that husband? Is she responsible to make it work within that context of the culture of having to, let's say, for example, cook for him and clean house for him, or go out in the fields and cut food, or I guess some cultures the woman has to go out and hunt and the man stays at home, or whatever. So those kind of questions, is that really a fair um, scenario for someone having to be responsible, or is it even responsibility if somebody is forced to do something that they is not really in their heart to really do? Um, can that person justifiably say that, I didn't make this choice, so it's, not my fault that it fails, or I'm not going to do what accordingly that the culture tells me to do, or want to do, even though the culture is saying, no, you're responsible for doing this. Can a person really be? Can we really be say that in a true sense of the word, that this person be truly say to be irresponsible by not following the cultural norms of what it is without her consent? And as I'm talking here, it seems to me that if I'm going to be responsible for something, it it pretty much has got to be a choice that that I'm going to make to some degree, if I'm going to be responsible for it. So just one last word on the beginning. If we, or I as a person, or you as an individual person, are you responsible for that sense of separation? If that the tiny mad idea you had nothing to do with it, you didn't want or choose this mad idea creeping in and spoiling paradise. Um, are we as individuals responsible for the sense of separation that everyone on this earth is experiencing to one sense or another. I imagine if some people are not, or say they're not, experiencing this sense of separation, then I don't think they would be on Earth. But maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm just making an assumption. Um, so that's one question. I guess several ways I could answer it is, even let's say that there was, we aren't responsible for this. We did not have any control over the creeping idea and having this sense of separation occur to us, and now we find ourselves here dealing with it, and and so are we really? Is it really fair? Am I really a victim if indeed the beginning of this sense of separation is what the Course says, is it's just a tiny mad idea that crept in, and so now here we are. So as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, well, what's the advantage both ways for me? Is it my advantage to say, okay, well, I am a victim. I had nothing to do with this. Isn't fair, uh, or there in along that lines. There's a God out there that is unfair for having this scenario play out where I'm separate from myself and separate from God. I'm separate from love, or I mean, not that I am separate, but I have a sense of separation that I have to live with, and I have to. I guess I don't have to, but I think everybody does, anyways. Have to um, try to move back into the original peace, happiness, joy that we actually have never left, but we have this sense of separation that doesn't do anybody any good, really, you know. And didn't do me any good. I just spent a lot of time just trying to bury that sense, trying to confront it, and then there were times in my life I just said forget it and just tried to bury it in different ways. So that school of thought that says, okay, well, we're here. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just a victim, and it's just an unjust scenario that is occurring, and this is really a lame excuse, a creeping mad idea, a tiny one at that. Has caused all this whole sense of separation to happen. And to tell you the truth, I really don't understand it. I think for I don't have a hold on this, but what I do understand about it and is that we have a sense of separation, and that's it. That is probably all I really need to know, is that where I came from is perfection, and I never left that perfection, and my whole purpose is to get back to it. And so as I'm thinking or looking at this, um, I can go to another school of thought that says I am responsible for this occurrence. I am responsible in a way that that am uh, the cause of the sense of separation that I have. Even though I don't remember consciously that I made a decision and said something like this: perfection is boring, or oneness is not where it's at, or it's not exciting enough, or who knows what the scenario could have been back in the good old days of perfection, you know. Um, but if I can accept the fact that I had something to do with it, then and I take responsibility for it and accountability for it, then that gives me an opportunity to change it. I don't see in my life of anything that I did not take ownership of, and I would say that's a good definition of responsibility, is taking ownership of whatever it is, a situation, um, a job, let's say, or a relationship. You know, there's certain roles that I've played in my special relationships. That once I get into that a special relationship back in the day, or not too far in the past, there are certain things that I assume that I am responsible for. And I think even today, I am learning or unlearning the special relationship. There are just certain things that I still do automatically. You know, like if I invite someone out, you know, I'm going to take care of the bill. You know, or if I'm going to let her in my car, I'm going to go open the door. You know, those kind of things that I still do, and I think I enjoy doing them. It I think it gives me a sense of honoring that person. I mean, if it's a male, like one of my buddies, I'm not going to open the door for him, but I will, if I invite someone out, I'll pay for the meal or the bill or whatever. I'll still do that. But it's more of a I'm not at that point where I'm making her special, where I want to, want something from her. I'd still have that sense of I don't know, honoring her, or I don't know, just I don't know, having a reverence, if you will, for her. But um, anyway, so uh, where was I here before I got off on that tangent? This so anyways, I can take action, responsibility to change a situation that I accept or take on. Like a marriage situation, it would be something that I would be consciously doing, and so that I take an active role in sustaining and maintaining um, this union or relationship. And so and the other thing also is, like, that one would be a conscious decision, but an unconscious decision that like the tiny mad idea in the sense of separation, that I will go ahead and buy into that I am personally responsible for it, even though it's an unconscious uh, unconscious thing in my mind that um, that I had something to do with it. But like I said, I don't understand it. I don't even know in the land of perfection if there is even individualized consciousness. I'm sure there's someone that's in the course that's a lot longer than me that can probably matter of factly answer that question. But I'm not pretty much not there in my path. So so here I am. I say, okay, you know, um, okay, so I had something to do with the tiny mat idea, and so I am responsible for it. So now, what am I gonna do? So what exactly, being this awareness of matter or of physical, what is my first duty or my um, natural inherent responsibility here for being on Earth? And so what I see, what it looks like, every person and every plant or animal or whatever, we all have a sense of survival to sustain and maintain life. Even though we, really don't understand what it is, it's still just that drive to stay alive. It sure sometimes it comes into question to end it, and there are many people that go ahead and do that and make a conscious choice to do that. But I think a person that does it does it out of that they are being tortured by their beliefs more than being tortured by life itself. They believe they are their beliefs, and by eliminating them, themselves, then it gets rid of the pain. But for the most part, in the course community, we we believe that it is our beliefs that determine our thoughts and the quality of our lives. So back to what I was talking about. So um, it appears that uh, the one thing that all life has in common is the sustaining and maintaining of life itself. So I would dare to say, or think it's fair to say, that inherent in all of us is that the responsibility for our lives. It's for whatever that means to us. I'm sure well, yeah, I can even just take myself as an example. When I first became aware of who I am or whatever when I was a little kid, life to me was not a unified consciousness. It was definitely a separate consciousness, because my life was waking up in the morning and putting my shorts on and going outside and playing with my brothers and sisters and friends and all of that. That was my whole concept and conception of what life is. So that was my responsibility to myself at that time, is to take care of myself and go out in the backyard and climb the avocado tree and have fun. And of course, the point of view changes as I'm getting older, and I'm finding out that there is more and different things that supposedly I'm supposed to have to do and have a role to play in society. And so those are the things that I'm supposed to have responsibility for, like going to school. I've got to be responsible for showing up, and I went to Catholic school, so I got to be responsible for my uniform. We used to wear black pants and a white shirt, and I got responsible for good grades, and I'd be responsible for being home at a certain time, and all of those things. And so what we could say is that our level or awareness of responsibility is changing in this material separate sense of separated world as time goes on, that our roles change, mature, and for the most part everyone is kind of like uh, changing all the roles at the same time, pretty much for me, until like the end of high school. And then at the end of high school, some of us went to college, some other people went to work, and people with done that, and so they take on other facets of what they call, or what I would call, um, the sustaining and maintaining of life, to include a marriage or a job, and that is what their life means to them in involved in acquiring things and starting a family and being responsible for the kids and your car and the house and paying the bills and advancing in your job and all of the so-called normal things. But I'm sure all of us know those couple of people or whatever that don't fit into that role, or decided that whole normality thing was just not for them, and so they do life uh, differently than the normal people. So the point being here is that um, in my life right now, that there is a level of responsibility, or the nature of being responsible for myself in the material physical world, is mostly has to do with sustaining and maintaining my body, as my my body is my identity, and that's what I sustain. That's what I define since I was born as my life. So when I no longer have this body and I die, then that is the end of life for me. That's the end of my identity. That's the end of everything. And so I know when I grew up in the Catholic Church, and then they say, well, once you die from here, then you go to purgatory, which is like a waiting area, or you go to hell or you go to heaven, or so they had the concept of life after death, that you go to all these different places. And so as a kid, I just imagined taking my body with me, like I'm in this place, and everybody I can recognize faces, arms, legs, and doing normal things that that I was doing here on Earth and looking like the same and all that. And so even now, when I when I read stuff about near-death experiences, which I like to call near-life experiences, uh, that they say, oh, I saw my grandfather and my mother there and all that. And so, maybe there is something to that where I don't know, we manifest as bodies in some degree, or how that recognition happens. I don't know. I guess I forgot how it did, and I guess I will um, know soon enough. um, but anyways, so in the physical sense of life, um, my responsibilities are to my body as my life. My responsibility to feed it, to take care of it, to dress it, get a nice haircut or a nice shirt, and also to pleasure it, make sure that I'm, doing things that are pleasurable for the body, with enjoying a sport, enjoying a golf game, and enjoying sex, and enjoying I used to, enjoy a beer or a drink and all that jazz, and that was the responsibility to life that I knew that I followed. And then I see, as I look around me, that that's pretty much the concept still, that everyone believes that life is. I mean, you just look at the elections, that's going on there. There isn't really a spiritual movement going on. It's like, what can I get out of whichever candidate is running. What can be done for the individual. And yeah, I guess there's some that are saying they can do something for a collective, the poor and the middle class and all that. But you're still addressing an individualized person with individualized needs of survival, and you're not really looking at a spiritual consciousness of unity, where we are all the same identity, like the Course in Miracles is teaching. So I think that pretty much draws the level of responsibility in the meaning of the word, in the sense of separated self. But of course, it does go further, that, yeah, in that physical world, you I'm not exactly sure how to put this, but you do want to be responsible for being a good citizen, in that you respect other people's bodies and their view of what their life is, and that's why we have laws and traffic signals, so we can regulate, in a somewhat peaceful and orderly manner, our individual wants and needs and goals and manners to sustain and maintain our bodies as our lives. Of course, we want to be, a good citizen. Of course, we want to be uh, decent and caring for others, but it's all to like a certain degree, just like a special relationship is. We go into it like as society says, as, oh, we're in love, and I need you, and I'm gonna sacrifice for you, and I'm gonna do all of this stuff as a special special relationship, but it's not a spiritual endeavor at all. It is a survival technique. It's a barter. It's a trade agreement, and so it really, in most cases, doesn't have much to do with love in the long run. I can honestly say that, yeah, maybe in the beginning, it there could be some love there in the fact that you forget about yourself, in that rush of seeing someone. A love at first sight thing is just that, you get an opportunity to forget about your self concept, and because you just finish throwing it all on her, that or him, or whoever you are, that they're going to take care of all that stuff. And so that's what the love at first sight is. And that's what really love is that is getting rid of that sense of separation, and that separate identity, and all of the identification that the separateness holds for us. Um, and so that would be a realistic view. And then also, parents. I'm not a parent yet, but I imagine there's definitely some unconditional love between brother and sister, parents, and to a certain degree. But also you have the within that family structure, there's also the competition for acknowledgement, and for how you rank in the family structure, and all of that, which doesn't have a whole lot to do with the unconditioned love, because now the conditions are set forth is, I can't love you because you're like in the way of my specialness, you're in the way of my acknowledging. So, having said that, and moving into a more spiritual point of view as far as responsibility, I feel that it's the same thing as far as being responsible for life. That's what we have when we come into this world. We still, or even before and after, from a spiritual sense, we still have that responsibility for life. But in a spiritual sense, it's a responsibility for uh, the true life, which is a spiritual life, which is uh, a life itself as an awareness, the life that is not the body, the life that is the experiencing of truth, is the experiencing of love, of joy, of peace, of bliss, that constitutes real life before this physical form, after the physical form, um, and what it is. The goal is to get back to that perfection that the crawling mad idea had separated us from. The having that responsibility for that life. I mean, it's still a responsibility for the physical form, because the physical form, we're trying to get it in terms of things outside of ourselves, like a new car or a relationship or something. We're trying to find the happiness through those means. In the spiritual realm, we know that we are it. We are that perfection that we have that sense of separation with. So we don't need to go outside of ourselves because we already are it. So the responsibility that I have as a course student, as a student of truth also, is to move my thoughts, which are only my beliefs that I learned, into, or actually unlearn everything that I've learned from the physical, bodily meaning of life, and let what I am as spirit, as love, as beauty and joy, reveal itself as who I am, my true identity as me. And it's not a matter of searching for it, like the physical sense. What do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a dentist. I want to be a doctor. I want to be this and that. There's only one goal in the spiritual sense, and that is just being who we truly are as spirit. And in that identity and in that realm and that consciousness and awareness of spirit, everything that is a goal in the physical body is already revealed as who we are, as the happiness and the bliss and the peace and the oneness and the love and the fun, of all of these human experiences. In the spiritual realm, it's already done. All that is real, all that is already given to us, or it's already inherent in who we are as a spiritual being. It's already us. It is that oneness that that we always were, even, and we still are, even though the creeping mad idea gave us that sense of separation, which is just a belief, and a belief is a manifestation of separation, because in the realm of the spiritual awareness, when we are fully in that consciousness, there are no beliefs. We just know. It is like, the I am. It isn't like I believe I am or I think I am. It is an awareness of I am. It's not a belief. It's an awareness. For me, it's an awareness that has to be experienced. I know there are plenty of books that talk about it and try to put it in words. And in my studying, I would get an idea of it, and then I think, okay, like there's Abraham Hicks, you gotta get into this vibration, this good vibration or whatever, and in the vortex and all of that. Like, it could be done with with the willpower or imagination. You can do it like that. But the problem with that, it is the ego that would try to hypnotize or mesmerize itself for its own ego good, so they can be a happy ego, and or have the relationship that they're drawn to, even if it's a relationship that they don't know why they're drawn to these people, that they're drawn to. They don't recognize that that's what they um, don't see in themselves and deny in themselves, but they still want it, and they want to raise their vibration and everything in order to get it, and not really knowing that that's not what they want. Um, so being in truth in the spiritual realm is for me is an experience, and the course calls it the holy instant, and it just isn't anything that you can be manufactured, but it is the truth of who we are. And I'm so happy and grateful for the course because um, it gives me that direction to go and live my life, and I'm happy to be responsible for my life. Um, I'm happy to get away from judging. I'm happy to get away from projecting and extending instead. It opens life up for me as an experience that I've never experienced before, and it is a true experience because it is an experience of intelligence, and it is an experience of order, an experience of love. It has all of the required uh, factors for me to be able to let go of my doubts, let go of my sense of survival, let go of my identity as a body, where I can just let it go and let the spirit of love surrender just to that experience. The more real that experience gets for me, and it's just a matter of um, of time and how many times, and I can get there. I can stay there, you know, and that is my responsibility now, because it is the most real thing for me. It's the most real. It's the most natural way for me to exist. It's kind of like, how can I not have um, how can I not have the the experience of gratitude? How can I not have um, that responsibility to be this way all of the time?